Welcome back to, you hear me? Hold on. A little technical difficulty. We good? All right, welcome to another edition of PonyFans Live. PonyFans Live is brought to you by Lakewood's First and 10, located at the northeast corner of Mockingbird and Abrams in Dallas, and recently named by D Magazine as the best sports bar in Dallas. Game Day Cloth. Love your team, love your clothes. Visit their store at the corner of Legacy and the Tollway in Plano. Those of you in attendance, visit the table over here to the right. And check out GameDayCloth.com for the finest SMU gear anywhere. And of course, PonyFans.com, the oldest, largest, and only free website dedicated to the SMU Mustangs and Pony fans everywhere. PonyFans Live will be here every week at Lakewood's First and 10. We invite you to join us each week to meet current and former players as well as coaches. If you cannot be here, we do YouTube it, and it'll be online on PonyFans.com the day after each show. And just one note, we will not have a show next week because of a conflict. The men's soccer team has a home game against Tulsa Wednesday night. With that said, please help me welcome our guests for tonight. The leading running back in Conference USA, number 48, Zach Line. And after the break, we also will be joined by defensive end and kick block specialist Kevin Grenier. But we are going to start with Zach Line. And if I understand correctly, you're a lot like last week's guest, Chris Banjo, in that you were originally committed to play for Coach Jones at Hawaii. First of all, how does a coach in Hawaii find a guy in Michigan? Or did you find him?
We kind of found him. I had a buddy whose dad worked for the Lions, so he offered to send a film down, and he did. And then it's again funny because me and Banjo came down kind of on the same airport, and Coach Hill picked us up, and we both kind of said, you know, we're both going to Hawaii, but let's check this out. And then we both just kind of like, this is awesome.
Bert Hill?
Mm-hmm. He picked us up from the airport, me and Banjo.
Oh, okay. So. All right, well, what drew you to them? I mean, other than the fact that you live in Michigan, where to most people around the country, the perception is that, you know, it's like the ice, the North Pole. You're freezing all year round, and you look at Hawaii, sure, you see palm trees, you see beaches, but what made you decide you wanted originally to go to Hawaii and play for June Jones and his staff out there?
I think it was mainly because it was the biggest offer I had, and it was just kind of like, I need to prove myself going somewhere big. And then when I got to SMU, it was kind of like, now I got to make a decision between SMU and Hawaii. And when I came down here, the decision was easy.
Okay, now walk me through that decision process. June Jones announces he's leaving Hawaii, moving to Dallas to take on the head coaching job at SMU. How long did it take you to either call him and say, I want to go with you, or did he call you and recruit you to follow him to SMU?
Once I heard he was leaving, it was pretty easy for me. It was pretty much instant that I wanted to follow him. I had no doubt. So Coach Jones is definitely wherever he was, I was, because I felt like he was a great coach, and I want to follow that.
Now your numbers as a senior in Oxford, Michigan, you ran for 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns. You also threw 3 touchdown passes, and you were an all-state linebacker. Did the position you were going to play factor into your decision? Were some schools looking at you as a linebacker as opposed to a running back?
I'd say every school was looking at me as a linebacker.
Including SMU, right?
Including SMU. And then it just kind of came down to who can we move, and then I was the guy called upon. And I was fine with it.
All right, and when you originally said you were coming to SMU, the plan was you were going to be a linebacker, right?
That was the plan, yep.
Okay, so then they decided they wanted to gray shirt you, meaning sit out the fall semester and enroll in January. What's that like to hear that? I mean, you're a star player in high school, you're being recruited, you're considering all these different schools. What's it like to get a phone call from June Jones or any other coach and say, yeah, we really like you, but sit tight for 6 months and then come join us in January?
Yeah, at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do that, because I didn't know how I would react not playing a whole year of football and then coming back and trying to play again. But after thinking about it, it worked out fine because it gave me, 6 months to work out on my own, try to get bigger, and I did that, and it was all for nothing because I got too big for running back, I think.
Right, because you're trying to put on weight to come in as a linebacker. At what point did they tell you we're changing our minds, moving you to running back?
When I got down here.
After you got down here?
Yeah.
So how big were you when you showed up in Dallas?
242. So I was on the upswing. I wasn't going any smaller.
So you arrive in Dallas having spent 6 months bulking up as much as you could. They move you to running back, and you are greeted by a transfer from Miami named Seanbray McNeil. And all of a sudden, you're a special teams guy. You're Seanbray's backup. You're the short yardage specialist. You did have 7 rushing touchdowns your first year, which was more than double the entire team the year before. But you're a very different runner than Seanbray, obviously. What did you learn sitting behind him and filling in on spot duty behind Seanbray McNeil last year?
He's a good back, and we got very different running styles. He's fast, and his side-to-side speed is nuts. My side-to-side got a lot better. I saw when I watched film that he had a good side-to-side, and I knew this summer that was what I needed to work on. Because once you get in the hole, it's in the spread formation, it's not downfield blockers as much as you have to make a move and try to bust one. So I just knew I had to work on my quickness and my side-to-side speed.
Part of that work on your quickness was getting rid of some of that weight that you had so diligently put on when you were at home. But you come out of camp this year as the starting running back. How much do you benefit from the fact that all summer people were talking about that other sophomore in the offense, Kyle Padron, and the passing game and the numbers he put up in the Hawaii Bowl? How much do you benefit by all the attention he gets?
Attention's really meant nothing to me. If the attention's on me, if it's off me, it doesn't really matter. Because either way, I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to work hard. And then the attention will come with the success. So it was fine. I think it was good for Kyle. It gave him a reason to work hard. People were watching him. He knew he had to work harder and harder. But, we were all working hard. So we kind of pushed each other.
All right, well, putting aside the attention as far as personal accolades, I would think teams look at SMU and they see June Jones, who has a reputation for throwing the ball all over the field, see the numbers that Kyle put up in the Hawaii Bowl. I would think a lot of defenses are geared to stop the pass first. Surely that helps you find a little running room if they're terrified that he's going to be flinging it up and down the field all day, right? Absolutely.
That's why if we get the passing game working, the running game's going to work too. So really, if one works, the other's going to work. So, if I'm doing my job, the passing game's going to open up. He's doing his job, the running game's going to open up. So it's deadly.
Well, you're clearly doing your job. You had a new career high in rushing 3 weeks in a row, including 139 yards against TCU, which is considered to be one of the best defenses in the country. And not to get entirely off track, but which is more enjoyable for you, scoring a touchdown or the play against TCU where you blasted a linebacker and knocked him back, 7, 8 yards? It looked like you took him right out of his shoes.
Yeah. After the game, that was the only play I talked about with my dad. Because he was like, "So what'd you think?" I said, "You see what I knocked that guy over?" And anything else didn't matter. But that was cool for me.
Was that Tank Carter or Tanner Brock? Do you remember?
I don't know. TCU guy.
TCU guy. Okay, fair enough. But when you have the ball, do you look up and he's right in front of you and you just have nowhere to go but run into him, or were you kind of looking for that extra shot?
I knew there was more inside than there was outside because he was running that way, so I kind of wanted to get half a man and just see what happened if I gave him a pop.
You're bigger than Seanbray McNeil. He was sort of I don't know if scat back is the right term, but you talked about his lateral quickness. You're viewed as something more of a power back, but you've broken off a lot of long runs this year. Are you surprised by some of the big plays that you've had this year?
I don't know. The holes are coming. The O-line's doing their job. It's obviously you have to find them, and that's what I've gotten better at, is having confidence and waiting for them and having the confidence to cut back, too. Last year I was just, hash number sidelines, what they teach the rookies, and then if you're cutting back, you're more confident, and that's what I've gotten this year.
a lot of the plays that you've had that have gone for big yardage have been on a delayed draw. And to the novices watching this, why is that play so effective? What is it about either the way the receivers clear out or the way the line blocks in front of you that has allowed you to have success on that over and over and over again this season?
The draw works good because, we depend on the receivers to run the same routes that they're running when they're running their routes. So if they keep running the same routes when we run the draw, those guys are going to go with them. It just opens up, there's only going to be 7 guys in the box that I have, and then the O-line's going to pick up 5 or 6, and I got 1 or 2 men to beat. So, it's a good play. It works pretty good.
Coming out of two-a-days this year, June Jones said that you were going to be the starting running back in large part because you were the best pass blocker. If you're putting up, let's see, 1,700 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns, I'm guessing you weren't blocking a lot as a senior. You're getting the ball every play, right?
Yeah.
How hard was it to pick up the techniques that Coach Swan and Coach Jones were teaching and fulfilling those expectations in pass protection?
Yeah, in high school we didn't pass block at all. I think I got like 35 carries a game. I think we did, run fake passes, and it was never pick up anybody. But when I came here, it was strictly, read the coverage, read the defense. What's this guy doing? You're picking up. I'm like, boy, wait a minute. Can we just run the ball? But it's gotten a lot easier now with time. Coach Swan's a good coach. Coach Jones' system is really hard to pick up at first. Once you have it, it becomes easy.
Do you enjoy it? I mean, you obviously like hitting people, whether it's putting your head down and running over them into the end zone or picking up a guy coming on a blitz. But do you enjoy planning somebody so Kyle has an extra couple seconds to throw?
Yeah, I mean, I like doing my job. I like not having mental errors. Physical errors are okay. Mental errors will kill you.
The June Jones offense is sort of perceived as, well, understandably, as a pass-first offense. But you guys are throwing the ball, or are running the ball 44% of the time this year. And there have been several games where you get ahead, and in the fourth quarter, it's Zach line left, Zach line right, Zach line up the middle. Explain to us what that feels like, where you start to wear down a defense. Do you see it in their eyes, or do you hear them talking about, I wish you guys would do something else? What does that feel like when you are physically overpowering and wearing down a defense like that?
It feels good. You can see it when our O-line starts to come back to the huddle, kind of like smiling, like, man, these guys can't take us anymore. And that's when you kind of know we're doing our job. It feels good to pound the ball. That's what I did in high school. So once you start just pounding the rock, you're going face mask to face mask every play. They start just to back off, and that's good when they start, when they stop tackling me high and going low, because that's when I know I can make more moves.
Can you tell a specific moment when a defense starts to quit and just mails it in and they're waiting for the clock to run down?
I mean, they never quit, but they stop flying to the ball, and there's less and less guys I have to beat, and then it just becomes easier near the end of the game. You got guys over here that at the beginning were running over and tackling you late, and those guys are just kind of jogging now. It's a good feeling when you only have to beat 2 guys.
Well, it's obviously working. Zach Line is leading Conference USA with 92 yards a game. We will come back to Zach Line in our third segment tonight when we look forward to the Navy game this Saturday. But we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to be joined by junior defensive end Kevin Grenier. This is PonyFans Live.